Chapter 1. The Star of Hope in the Boundless Darkness of Space. The USNS Hope shone like a beacon. Its hull, nearly 2 miles long, gleamed white with bold red stripes, an unmistakable symbol of mercy. This was no warship, no freighter, but a mobile hospital, the largest humanity had ever built. Across its surface, Red Cross symbols and the words "hospital ship" glowed brightly, visible even under the faint light of distant stars. To any species in the Galactic Confederation, these markings meant peace, compassion, and life. Captain Susan Moore stood on the bridge, her sharp gray eyes scanning the dozens of screens encircling her. At 45, Susan had spent over 2 decades in space, yet the thrill of a ship breaking Earth's orbit still quickened her pulse. She wore the navy blue uniform of the Space Forces, her brown hair tied neatly back, exuding authority tempered by calm. 20 years ago, she'd been a daring young pilot, threading scout ships through perilous asteroid fields. Now, she commanded the Hope, a vessel carrying the dreams of an entire planet. "Status report," Susan called, her voice steady but firm. "All systems green, Captain," replied Officer Sam Wells from his console. Young, with tousled blonde hair and bright, eager eyes, Sam was a rising star in the fleet. "Engine room reports full power. Medical bays are ready." Susan nodded, her gaze lingering on the main screen, where Earth sparkled like a blue and white gem against the void. "Good. Set course for Vega Colony, standard speed." The Hope was more than a ship. It was a marvel of human ingenuity, designed to bring life where death loomed. With over 3,000 medical personnel, dozens of cutting-edge operating theaters, and supplies to treat an entire planet, the Hope was humanity's pride. This mission was unlike any other. Vega Colony, a remote outpost 2 weeks' journey from Earth, had sent desperate pleas. A mysterious illness was spreading, plunging thousands into pain and fear. Earth had answered without hesitation. The Hope was dispatched immediately. 6 decks below the bridge, in the bustling corridors of the medical wing, Dr. Alan Wright moved with the urgency of a man bearing the weight of countless lives. As Chief Medical Officer, Alan, at 50, had salt and pepper hair and warm brown eyes that put others at ease. He was not just a brilliant doctor, but a leader, trusted implicitly by his team. The hallways around him buzzed like a hive, with doctors, nurses, and technicians darting about, checking equipment and prepping treatment areas. "Dr. Wright," a voice called, cutting through his thoughts. Alan turned to see Nurse Kevin Phillips approaching, clutching a tablet. At 25, Kevin was young but skilled, with steady hands and a cool head. Yet his eyes sometimes betrayed the uncertainty of someone untested by true crisis. "The vaccine samples are secured, and the lab is ready," Kevin reported, his voice slightly unsteady. "But we're still loading the last of the blood supplies. It might take another hour." Alan glanced at his wristwatch. "We've got 2 hours before departure. Make sure everything's locked down by then." "Yes, sir," Kevin replied, hurrying off, his steps nearly a run. In the main cargo bay, Logistics Officer Lisa Grant directed a team loading the final supplies. At 35, Lisa was tall, with short chestnut hair and a piercing gaze. She was the mastermind behind the Hope's logistics, ensuring every syringe and oxygen tank was in place. This was her 6th mission on a hospital ship, but none had taken her as far as Vega. "Those scanners go to Bay 4, Lisa barked, pointing at workers hauling delicate equipment. "And be careful with those crates. They're carrying sensitive medications." She checked items off her tablet, ticking each as crates passed by. Every box was a piece of a larger puzzle, a mission to save thousands. In a secure section, guarded by armed sentries, the Hope carried experimental treatments, developed by Earth's top scientists. Those tiny vials might be Vega's only salvation. "Final inspection complete," Lisa said into her comm. "Cargo secured for departure." Captain Moore's voice echoed through the ship's speakers, clear and commanding. "All personnel, prepare for departure in 30 minutes. I repeat, departure in 30 minutes. In her private office, Susan sat at her desk, reviewing the mission brief one last time. Earth had been part of the Galactic Confederation for just 15 years, still newcomers in the eyes of older races. Some species watched humanity with curiosity, others with suspicion, and a few with hostility. The Draconis Empire was the greatest threat. The reptilian race controlled dozens of star systems near Vega and had fiercely opposed humanity's settlement there 5 years ago. Now, with this medical crisis, tensions were rising. A knock at the door broke her reverie. "Enter," Susan called. Ambassador John Miller stepped in. As the diplomatic officer assigned to the Hope, John handled political issues during the journey. At 40, with sleek black hair and a disarming smile, he was a seasoned negotiator. "Captain, I've received final clearances from Confederation Space Control," he said. "We're approved for travel through all sectors to Vega." "Any word from the Draconis?" Susan asked, her tone edged with concern. John shook his head. "Nothing direct. Their representatives at the Confederation Council say they have no objection to a medical mission." "Let's hope they mean it," Susan replied, her eyes hardening. An hour later, the massive ship eased away from Earth's orbital dock. Smaller escort vessels guided the Hope to the jump point, where it would begin its trek to Vega. On the bridge's main screen, Earth shrank, a shimmering jewel in the blackness. Many crew members paused, gazing silently at their fading home. "Course set, Captain," reported Navigator Tim Reed. "Engines at full power." "Take us out, Mr. Reed," Susan ordered, her voice resolute. "The people of Vega need us." The Hope's engines flared brilliant blue, propelling the colossal ship toward the stars. In the heart of every crew member, a flame of hope burned brightly, ready to bring light to those lost in pain and fear. Chapter 2. The Journey Begins. 3 days into the journey, the USNS Hope glided through the shimmering void of hyperspace, its engines humming a steady rhythm. On the bridge, Captain Susan Moore sat in her command chair, her eyes fixed on a star chart. The Vega colony was still 11 days away, but every hour brought them closer to those who needed them. Susan's mind, however, wandered to a memory she rarely allowed herself to revisit. A mission 20 years ago, when she'd lost her closest friend to a pirate ambush. The pain lingered, a reminder of why she'd chosen to lead a ship of healing rather than war. "Captain," Officer Sam Wells called, his voice sharp with urgency. "Sensors are picking up multiple signatures approaching at high speed." Susan snapped back to the present, her heart quickening. "Identification." "None yet," Sam replied, his fingers flying over the controls. "They're not responding to hails." "Put it on the main screen," Susan ordered. The screen flickered, revealing 3 angular ships slicing through the darkness. Their jagged silhouettes were unmistakably Draconis, sleek, predatory, and unlike the smooth curves of human vessels. "Those are Draconis warships," Navigator Tim Reed said, his voice low. Susan pressed the calm button on her console. "Security. Alert status." Security Chief Olivia Martinez responded instantly. "Confirmed, Captain, but we're a hospital ship. Our defenses are minimal." "I know," Susan said, her voice steady despite the rising tension. "Broadcast? Our status on all frequencies. Make it clear we're a medical vessel on a mercy mission." As the crew scrambled to comply, Susan stared at the approaching ships. They hadn't fired yet, but their presence felt like a predator circling its prey. Chapter 4. The Attack, the Bridge of the USNS. Hope shuddered as a blinding energy blast struck the hull. Alarms blared and the lights flickered. Captain Susan Moore gripped her chair, her mind racing. The Draconis ships, 3 of them, their weapons glowing with malevolent energy, had opened fire without warning, ignoring the Hope's hospital markings and repeated broadcasts. "Damage report," Susan shouted over the chaos. "Shields at 60%, Sam Wells reported, his face pale. "Medical storage on Deck 12 is hit. Continue broadcasting our status," Susan ordered. "Make it clear we're unarmed." Paul Young, at the comm station, worked frantically. "Broadcasting on all frequencies, Captain. Confederation registry, medical identifiers, everything." Another blast rocked the ship, stronger this time. The main screen showed the Draconis. Vessels closing in, their angular forms growing larger. Susan's heart pounded, but her voice remained steady. All personnel, secure patients and equipment, possible emergency situation. In Medical Bay 3, Dr. Alan Wright heard the announcement and sprang into action. "Move critical patients to the central bays," he shouted. "Secure all medications." Nurse Kevin Phillips rushed to a patient in a bio bed, a colonist they'd picked up at a way station. "It's okay," Kevin said, forcing calm into his voice. "Just a precaution." Back on the bridge, the situation worsened. "They're charging weapons again," Tim Reed said, disbelief in his voice. "That's impossible," Susan snapped. "We're a hospital ship." A deafening explosion cut her off as a third blast tore through the Hope's midsection. "Direct hit to the main medical bay," Tim reported, his voice shaking. "Multiple hull breaches." Susan made the hardest call of her life. "Begin evacuation procedures. All non-essential personnel to escape pods." She pressed the ship wide. "Alert. All hands, this is the captain. We are under attack. This is not a drill. Proceed to evacuation stations." As alarms wailed, Susan watched the Draconis ships continue their assault. Why, she thought, a spark of fury igniting in her chest. Chapter 6. Drifting in the Void. Escape Pod. 17 tumbled through the cold expanse of space, its emergency systems straining to stabilize. Inside, 23 survivors crammed into a space meant for 15. Nurse Kevin Phillips knelt beside an injured crew member, his medical kit nearly depleted. His hands trembled as he applied a bandage, but he forced himself to focus. Logistics Officer Lisa Grant studied the pod's navigation panel. "Any signals from other pods?" Kevin asked, his voice hoarse. Lisa shook her head. "Comms are damaged. I can send beacons, but we can't receive." Through the tiny viewport, distant flashes marked the Draconis ship's continued attack on the Hope's wreckage. Kevin turned away, unable to watch. "We have oxygen for 3 days," Lisa said. "Water for 2. We're drifting toward the shipping lanes, but—" She trailed off. Their odds were slim. In a corner, technician Greg Weber clutched a data device. "I recorded it," he said softly. "When the attack started, I was on the observation deck. I got everything, the hospital markings, our broadcasts, their shots." Lisa moved closer. "You have proof the Draconis attacked unprovoked?" Greg nodded. "It's all here." "That could be critical," Kevin said, a flicker of hope in his eyes. "If we survive." On the second day, as despair crept in, the pod sensors beeped. "A ship's approaching," Lisa said, checking the scanner. "Not Draconis. It's a Trill merchant vessel." The survivors held their breath as the larger ship extended a docking arm. Soon they were aboard the Good, Fortune greeted by Captain Zen, a tall Trill with spotted skin. "We detected your beacon," Zen said. "What happened?" Kevin, still tending to patients, looked up. "Draconis warships attacked our hospital ship, the USNS Hope, without warning." Zen's face showed shock. "A hospital ship? That violates all Confederation laws." "We have proof," Lisa said, pointing to Greg's device. Chapter 9. The Survivors' Testimony. In the Emergency Operations Center beneath the White House, President Carol Harris sat at the head of a round table, surrounded by Earth's most powerful leaders. The air was thick with tension. Screens displayed Greg Weber's recording of the Hope's destruction, the hospital marking stark against the Draconis energy blasts. Nurse Kevin Phillips stood before the council, his scorched uniform a testament to the ordeal. His voice was quiet but steady. The Hope was clearly marked as a medical vessel. Captain Moore broadcast our status repeatedly. The Draconis fired without warning. Dr. Wright stayed with patients who couldn't be moved. He knew he'd die, but he wouldn't leave them. Heavy silence followed. Intelligence Officer Adam Bell stepped forward, activating a display. This was no mistake. Intercepted Draconis communications show the attack was planned months ago. They targeted the Hope to test our resolve, believing, "Our compassion makes us weak." President Harris stood, her face a mask of controlled fury. They misjudged us. Our mercy and our strength come from the same source, our humanity. She turned to Admiral Steve Rodriguez. Prepare a surgical strike. Target only those responsible. No civilian casualties. Rodriguez blinked, surprised. A limited response? Yes, Harris said firmly. We'll show the galaxy that humans fight when necessary, but we seek justice, not vengeance. Kevin, watching from the side, felt a spark of hope. The faces around him showed grim determination. Earth would answer, and the Draconis would learn that humanity's mercy had teeth. Chapter 11. Battle of Cygnus 4. The Earth fleet emerged from hyperspace at the edge of the Cygnus 4 system. 27 ships in perfect formation. The ESS Vindication, Earth's most advanced carrier, led the charge toward the Draconis outpost. On the bridge, Captain Ryan Clark studied the tactical display. The Draconis base loomed, a massive station bristling with defenses. Any reaction? Ryan asked. They're hailing us, demanding our purpose, Communications Officer Andrea Nelson replied. Open a channel, Ryan said. This is Captain Ryan Clark of the ESS Vindication. We've come for those responsible for attacking. The USNS Hope, a harsh voice answered. This is Commander Drex of the Draconis Defense Force. Your presence is a violation. Leave or face destruction. Not until justice is served, Ryan replied. Broadcast the Hope's recording. On all frequencies. As the video played showing the hospital ship's destruction, the Draconis fired. But engineer Laura Kelly's shield-penetrating technology weakened their beams. Minimal damage, the tactical officer reported. Execute Maneuver Delta, Ryan ordered. The fleet split into 3 groups attacking from multiple angles. Draconis ships lost weapons one by one, disabled but intact. Colonel Frank Murphy led his Marines from the Vindication's launch bay. We go in fast, secure our targets, and get out, he told his troops. Their vessels pierced the Draconis command ship's shields, cutting through the hull. Murphy's team moved with precision, capturing Admiral Zorax amidst the chaos. Across the system, other races watched in awe. The humans, underestimated, were dismantling a Draconis outpost with surgical precision. Chapter 13. The Galactic Trial. The Great Chamber of the Galactic Confederation Council was silent as Ambassador Daniel Green took the platform. Representatives from over 200 species watched, their seats rising in tiers around him. At the chamber's center stood Admiral Zorax, guarded by human Marines. Honored representatives, Daniel began, his voice resonant. Earth came to the stars as healers. The USNS Hope carried medicine to the sick, threatening no one. Its unprovoked destruction cost over 2,000 lives. Doctors, nurses, patients. Screens displayed the Hope's Red Cross symbols and Greg's recording. The Draconis expected weakness or rage, Daniel continued. They misunderstood humanity. Our response was precise, capturing those responsible with minimal loss. The Draconis representative claimed self-defense, but Daniel countered with scans of the Hope's cargo. Medical supplies, no weapons. Admiral Zorax's records show this was a deliberate test of our resolve. Elder Arcturan, the council head, spoke gravely. How does Earth wish to proceed? We seek justice, Daniel said. The Draconis must acknowledge their crime, pay reparations, and submit to military monitoring for 10 years. After hours of debate, the council imposed Earth's penalties, plus demilitarization of Cygnus 4. Zorax and his commanders faced imprisonment. Earth had shown the galaxy its strength and its restraint. Chapter 14. A new dawn, the USNS Salvation drifted silently in Earth's orbit, its white hull gleaming under the sun's rays, red stripes and cross symbols bold against the void. Smaller than its predecessor, the Hope, it was no less a marvel, a testament to humanity's resilience. Admiral Susan Moore stood on its bridge, her gray eyes softened by time but sharp with purpose. At 50, she bore the scars of the Draconis attack, both visible and unseen, yet her presence radiated quiet strength. Status report, Susan called, her voice carrying the same calm authority that had guided the Hope. All systems operational. Admiral, replied Officer Maria Chen, a young woman with steady hands and a quick mind. Medical bays are fully stocked. Crew reports ready for departure. Susan nodded, her gaze settling on the main screen, where Earth turned slowly, a vibrant sphere of blue and green. The Salvation was bound for the Orion Reach, a cluster of colonies struck by a radiation surge. This mission carried the weight of lives in need and the galaxy's respect, earned through the Hope's sacrifice. In the medical wing, Dr. Emily Carter moved through bustling corridors, her tablet glowing with patient data. At 32, Emily had trained under Dr. Alan Wright's mentorship before his death aboard the Hope. His loss drove her to lead with compassion and precision. Nurses and technicians parted as she passed, their trust absolute. Dr. Carter called Nurse Aisha Khan, hurrying to her side. Radiation treatment protocols are loaded and mobile clinics are prepped. Good, Emily replied, her voice warm but firm. Double-check the shielding on the portable units. Yes, ma'am, Aisha said, dashing off. In the cargo bay, logistics officer Jamal Hayes oversaw supply loading. Tall and wiry, Jamal, now 40, had been a junior officer on the Hope. Careful with those crates, he shouted. Those are water purifiers. Orion's depending on them. His tablet pinged with a message from Ambassador Priya Sharma, the Salvation's diplomatic officer. Galactic Confederation has cleared our route. No Draconis activity reported. Jamal exhaled, relieved. The Draconis Empire, humbled by the Galactic trial, had grown quiet. On the bridge, Susan reviewed the mission brief. The Orion Reach was neutral, but tensions lingered. The Confederation's ruling had made Earth a power, its mercy matched by resolve. Her thoughts drifted to the Hope, Dr. Wright, Captain Zen, the lives lost. Their sacrifices fueled her. A chime signaled a transmission. President Carol Harris appeared on screen, solemn yet proud. Admiral Moore, the Salvation carries our promise that humanity will always answer suffering with hope. We're ready, Madam President, Susan said. The Salvation will not falter. Godspeed, Admiral, Harris replied. Prepare for departure, Susan ordered. Set course for Orion Reach. Navigator Liam Patel input the coordinates. Course locked, Admiral, engines at full power. Take us out, Susan said. The Salvation eased from its dock, escorted by Confederation vessels. Earth faded on. The main screen. A faint distress call interrupted. A human freighter under attack by raiders. Susan's eyes narrowed. Identify that signal. It's the SS Dawnlight, Maria reported. Unidentified raiders, non-Draconis. Divert course, prepare to assist, Susan ordered. The Salvation surged forward, its crew ready. Chapter 15. Shadows in the Void. The Salvation emerged from hyperspace near the SS Dawnlight, a battered freighter drifting amidst debris. On the bridge, Susan studied the tactical display. 3 sleek raider ships, their hulls unmarked, circled the freighter like vultures. Status of the Dawnlight? Susan asked. Minimal power, multiple hull breaches, Maria reported. They're broadcasting a surrender signal. Hail the raiders, Susan ordered. Communications Officer Elena Ruiz activated the channel. This is the USNS Salvation, a Galactic Confederation hospital ship. Cease your attack and identify yourselves. Static answered, then a cold voice. This is no concern of yours, human. Leave or share their fate. Susan's jaw tightened. Broadcast our medical status. Make it clear we're here to aid survivors. Elena complied, but the raiders fired a warning shot across the Salvation's bow. Alarms blared. Shields holding, Liam reported. They're testing us, Priya Sharma said, stepping forward. These aren't typical pirates. Their ships have advanced cloaking, likely mercenaries hired to destabilize Confederation routes. Susan nodded. Security, prepare boarding teams. Medical ready triage units. In Medical Bay 2, Emily organized her team. Expect trauma cases, she told Aisha. Set up isolation units in case of biohazards. In the cargo bay, Jamal prepped. Emergency supplies. If we're boarding, I'm sending portable med kits with the teams, he told his crew. Security Chief Marcus Tate, a grizzled veteran, led the boarding units. We go in fast, secure the Dawnlight's crew, and neutralize threats. Briefed his team. The Salvation deployed shuttles, dodging raider fire with precise maneuvers. Aboard the Dawnlight, Marcus's team found terrified crew members huddled in sealed compartments. You're safe now, Marcus said, escorting them to shuttles. But in the engine room, they encountered resistance, raiders in advanced armor, wielding plasma rifles. A firefight erupted, but Marcus's team, trained for precision, subdued. The attackers without fatalities. We've got prisoners, Marcus reported to Susan, and data cores from their ship. Back on the Salvation, Emily's team treated the Dawnlight's wounded. One patient, a young engineer named Tara Lynn, whispered, "They weren't after cargo. They wanted our navigation logs." Susan met with Priya and Marcus in her office. "Navigation logs?" Susan asked. Priya's eyes darkened. "The Orion Reach is a key trade hub. Controlling those routes could choke Confederation supply lines." "Someone's funding these mercenaries," Marcus added. "The prisoners aren't talking, but their tech suggests a bigger player." Susan activated a secure line to Earth. Admiral Rodriguez appeared. "We've intercepted similar attacks," he said. "Intelligence points to a rogue faction within the Krill Dominion, pushing for chaos to weaken the Confederation." "Orders?" Susan asked. "Proceed to Orion Reach," Rodriguez said. "But stay vigilant. The Salvation's presence could deter further attacks." As the Salvation resumed its course, Susan addressed the crew. "We saved lives today, but the galaxy's testing us again. Stay sharp. Orion needs us." Chapter 16. The Eternal Light. The Salvation arrived at the Orion. Reached 10 days later, greeted by a flotilla of Confederation ships. The colonies, scorched by radiation, were a patchwork of survival and despair. On the surface of Orion Prime, Emily led mobile clinics, treating burns and radiation sickness. "We're saving hundreds," Aisha reported, her voice tired but proud. Jamal coordinated supply drops, ensuring clean water and food reached remote settlements. "These people haven't seen aid in weeks," he said, watching children clutch ration packs. Susan and Priya met with Orion's governor, a Trill named Kalia. "Your arrival is a miracle," Kalia said. "But we've had reports of raider sightings nearby." "We've dealt with them before," Susan assured her. "The Salvation will protect your skies while we work." That night, sensors detected a massive raider fleet approaching. 30 ships led by a Krill-designed flagship. Susan called an emergency meeting. "This isn't a raid," Priya said. "It's an invasion. We can't fight them alone," Marcus warned. "We won't," Susan said. She opened a channel to the Confederation flotilla. "This is Admiral Moore. Orion is under threat. We request immediate support." The Trill, Arcturan, and human ships rallied, forming a defensive line. On the Salvation's bridge, Susan orchestrated the battle. "Target their flagship's engines," she ordered. "Disable, don't destroy." The Salvation, though a hospital, Jujip, used its advanced shields to protect civilian transports. Confederation ships outmaneuvered the raiders, whose formation crumbled under coordinated fire. The flagship, crippled, signaled surrender. Boarding teams captured the Krill commander, Varkas, who confessed under interrogation. "The Dominion's elders didn't sanction this," he said. "A rogue general sought to spark war, blaming humans." Priya transmitted Varkas's confession to the Confederation Council, which swiftly arrested the rogue general. The Krill. Dominion shamed, pledged reparations to Orion. Weeks later, the Salvation prepared to depart. Orion's people lined the streets, cheering as mobile clinics packed up. Emily, exhausted but fulfilled, hugged Aisha. "We did it," she said. Jamal watched supply crates load, a rare smile on his face. "This is why we're here." On the bridge, Susan received a message from President Harris. "The galaxy sees us now, not just as healers but as guardians. The Salvation has lit a path forward." As the ship entered hyperspace, Susan gazed at the stars. The Hope's loss had forged her, but the Salvation's triumphs defined her. Humanity's light, mercy, strength, hope, would burn eternal, guiding the galaxy toward peace.